I'm VJ Hamilton and welcome to the Autoimmune Reset, the place for you to learn how to thrive with autoimmune disease and feel empowered to take steps to transform your health to feel better than ever. You can start making changes today to improve your health. So with every episode, my mission is to share with you simple ways to up-level your diet and lifestyle with key learnings from my own journey reversing autoimmune disease and inspirational stories from those who have reset their autoimmune symptoms and are now thriving in life. I suffered from autoimmune disease for over 25 years and now I live symptom-free, and I wish the same for you as well. So thank you for being here and sharing this time with me. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome back to another Friday 5 episode of the Autoimmune Reset podcast. I'm your host, VJ Hamilton. I'm a nutritionist, scientist, and expert in autoimmune disease. And this week inside the Autoimmune Forum, we've been doing something called a week of finding calm, where I've been sharing one simple prompt to help people slow down and create a little more space in their day. When we talk about supporting the nervous system, it's easy to think we need an hour of meditation every morning, a complicated routine, or another wellness habit to squeeze into an already busy schedule. But I don't think that's what most of us need. If you're living with an autoimmune condition, chronic fatigue, persistent pain, or simply feeling overwhelmed by life, the last thing you need is another thing to tick off your to-do list. Instead, I want to share 5 incredibly simple practices that take somewhere between 10 seconds or 5 minutes. They might seem almost too simple, but it's often these tiny moments, repeated consistently, that help our body spend a little less time in survival mode and a little more time in a state that supports healing. And that's how I live my life. I have found over the years many ways to help support my nervous system, but also finding convenient ways to eat healthy as well, because we don't want to overburden ourselves and put more pressure on ourselves when we are looking to recover from these types of conditions. So let's dive in. Number 1 is to take one slow breath before your next task. And this is probably the simplest habit you can build into your day. Before you pick up your phone, reply to an email, make a cup of tea, or move on to your next task, simply just pause. Breathe in gently through your nose for a count of 4, and then breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, and that's it. And the reason this works is because a longer exhale gently stimulates the vagus nerve, one of the key communication pathways of the parasympathetic nervous system, sometimes referred to our rest and digest response. Now, one breath isn't going to eliminate all your stress, of course, but what it does do is interrupt that automatic cycle of rushing from one thing to the next. Instead of your day becoming one long stream of reacting, you create tiny moments where you've chosen to respond. If you'd like a little more guidance with breathing exercises, one app a client of mine has been enjoying is the BreathPod app. It has a range of guided breathing practices depending on how you're feeling, whether you're looking to feel calmer, improve your focus, or simply just take a mindful pause. If you'd like to dive deeper into the science and the practical side of breathing, I also recorded a wonderful podcast episode with breathwork expert Dan Brulé, where we explore how our breath can influence stress, our resilience, our overall health, and our recovery. And I'll link to that in the show notes as well. Number 2 is to get everything out of your head. And this second habit is something I use myself all the time, because when life feels busy, our brain is trying to hold on to a dozen different things, whether that's the appointments that I've got, the emails I need to respond to, shopping lists, the things I need to remember, conversations I might need to have with clients. It might be worries that I've got about what's coming up. And our brains are brilliant at thinking, but they're actually not designed to store endless amounts of information. So spend 2 minutes writing down everything, and it doesn't need to be organized. Don't worry about making a beautiful list. Just get it out of your head and onto paper or into the notes app on your phone. I might sometimes think of things and I'll just get my notes out and put a note in there of something that I've thought about. And then ask yourself one simple question when you've written everything down. And that's, what's the next thing I need to do? Not the next 10 things, just the next one thing that you are going to do. And one of the biggest drivers of overwhelm isn't always the amount we have to do. It's trying to mentally juggle everything at once. And writing these things down can reduce that mental load and create a sense of clarity. Sometimes our nervous system doesn't need fewer responsibilities. It simply needs fewer open loops so that you can concentrate on one thing at a time. Number 3 is one of my favorites, and it's to create a feel-good playlist. So spend 5 minutes creating a playlist filled with songs that make you smile. Not songs that you think you should like, but songs that instantly transport you somewhere happy. It might be a nostalgic song, songs that make you want to dance around the kitchen or just really uplift your mood. It might be songs that remind you of holidays, of friends, of concerts, or just happy memories. And music has a remarkable ability to influence our nervous system. Research has shown that it can reduce stress hormones, it can improve mood, it can even influence our heart rate and breathing. And a few songs that I have on my own playlist include Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac. I've got Crush on there by Jennifer Page and Make It Happen by Mariah Carey. And I personally like to have songs on that remind me of childhood or remind me of school or, as I said, those happy memories. And I also love adding songs that remind me of travel or summer or people that I love. Later today, you can press play on that playlist. It might be when you're driving, it might be when you're cooking dinner, tidying the house, or perhaps just sit and listen for one song without doing anything else. We often think nervous system regulation has to be serious, like meditation or mindful walking, but sometimes it just looks like singing at the top of your lungs in the car or in the shower, because joy is incredibly therapeutic and it is the antidote to stress. The 4th habit comes from something called orienting, and you may have never heard of this before, but it's something our nervous system naturally does when it feels safe. And here's what I'd like you to try. Wherever you are right now, choose one object. Obviously, if you're driving or doing something, then please be safe and do this at another time. But wherever you are right now, choose one object. Maybe it's a flower, it might be a tree outside your window, it could be your coffee mug, it could be a painting, a candle. Now spend around 30 seconds noticing as much detail as you possibly can. Notice the colors, the textures, the shadows, the tiny imperfections, the shapes. Really allow yourself to become curious, because this can help when you're stressed. And why does this help? Well, when you're stressed and anxious, our brains become very focused on scanning for potential danger and our attention narrows. And orienting gently encourages the brain to look around and recognize that in this moment we're safe. It's a subtle but powerful way of bringing ourselves back into the present. The next time you feel overwhelmed, instead of immediately reaching for your phone, trying to look out the window, or noticing 10 things you've never noticed before, you might now be surprised at how calming it feels. And lastly, slow down one ordinary moment in your day. And this final habit is beautifully simple. Choose just one everyday activity today and do it more slowly. That might be brushing your teeth, it might be washing your hands, making a cup of tea, even walking to your car, folding the washing. You don't need to slow your entire day down, just one moment. When we're living in a constant state of stress, we often rush everything without even realizing it. And by deliberately slowing down for one moment, you're sending your nervous system a message that says, I am safe, nothing bad is happening right now, not everything is an emergency. And these tiny signals matter. This is what I talk about so much. It's the small things in our day that can make such a big difference, because our nervous system is constantly collecting information from both our internal and external environment. And the more often we create moments of safety, the easier it becomes for our body to spend time in a state of repair rather than protection. So if there's one thing I'd love you to take away from today's episode, it's this. Supporting your nervous system doesn't have to mean adding another hour to your day. Healing isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about creating dozens of tiny moments throughout the day that remind your body it's safe. That one slow breath, your favorite song, 1 minute looking out at the clouds, one list on a piece of paper and one slower cup of tea that you are making, these small habits really do add up. I genuinely love to know which one resonates with you the most. So if you're listening on Spotify, YouTube, or Instagram, come and let me know at the Autoimmune Nutritionist over on Instagram. And if you'd like to join us, I've shared these prompts inside the Autoimmune Forum, which is completely free. I'll add the link to the show notes because we'd love to have you there. So thanks so much for listening today, and I'll speak to you next week. Take care. Thank you very much for joining me today on the Autoimmune Reset. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. And if you liked it, I would hugely appreciate a review on iTunes, as it helps me understand what you like about the podcast and to help share the information with more people. I'm excited to speak to you next time, and remember, you have the power to take the reins on your health. So keep the faith and celebrate the small wins. Until next time.